Hello and greetings fellow StarCrafters, PGO Milncraft here, and welcome back to game number 4 between FnaticFenix, the blue Terran player right here, and GosuHwangsin, the teal Protoss player right here. I guess he chose teal on this map. He wanted something a little bit different than red versus blue as we normally see. So he went for a color just slightly different. Luckily they're not the same race, otherwise that would be very confusing for pretty much everyone involved. This map is Terminus RE. It's the GSO version of the map, GSO being the primary Terran where this map originated. Again, one of the bigger maps from the map pool, and I believe this is the version of the map. Oh no, this is the version of the map with the rocks. So there is a version of the map with a half expand here, just 5 mineral patches and a regular, not a rich Vespine geyser, and then a rocks here which lead into the side expansion, so that right here isn't the only entrance into the main base. There is an alternative entrance, although if you're able to block off right about here, which is relatively far ahead, and it's covered by the Xenaga Watchtower, then that would cover that expansion as well. So one army can defend both expansions, but it's relatively more rare. It's a little bit harder to defend. We do see a bunker going down, and we see that our players, again, are in cross positions, like they have been in every match, of course. We haven't seen a super long match. The last match was relatively macro-oriented. However, it ended with kind of a weird base trade scenario in which the Terran player was able to get a nice little drop into the back and snipe 2 Nexuses in order to, deal a lot of damage to Hwangsin, while Hwangsin was coming in with his army and dealing a lot of damage to FnaticFenix. Luckily for Hwangsin, his army was just better, and they were much better upgraded. They were 3-2 upgraded, which was much improved from Phoenix's 0-0 upgrades, and he was just able to take the day as a result of that. Meanwhile, we see that gas is going down for both players. I'm not sure why he's building an SCV right now. Actually, he should be building a orbital. He actually probably built one too many SCVs. Not that it matters terribly, but it just means the orbital is slightly delayed, which means, of course, meals are slightly delayed, but his SCVs are going to be a little bit ahead of schedule as well, so they're going to keep harvesting while he's upgrading his orbital command. Meanwhile, the SCV that he sent out to scout is going to go the wrong way. He's going to miss that. That Marine's probably going to take out that probe before he gets in. Nice! Nice last shot, able to take out the probe. I don't believe the probe saw the upgrade. That was... Oh, it did see it. And you can tell by the shape of it that it's a reactor. Or, well, could we tell from the shape of it there? Yes, I believe you could tell it does in fact look different at that stage, and so we can tell it's a reactor, so we could possibly suspect reactor Hellions. However, that's relatively rare against Protoss, mostly because Protoss stalkers are quite good against those, and he's actually going to be building the command center on site, which is going to make defending against a 4-gate actually very difficult, but it doesn't matter because Hwangsin has decided to go for his own Nexus as well. And it's possibly decided to build on the bottom that his SCV saw it, and his SCV is most likely going to see the... Yes, he is going to see the expansion as well, so he knows that he's going to be secure, at least for a little bit, from any sort of attack from Hwangsin. It takes a little while to gear up, unless Hwangsin decided to get a bunch of gateways now, and then cancel the expansion and do some sort of... kind of tricky move in which he cancels the expansion and goes for more forces, but that's a little risky. Of course, it's a super all-in, and the attack comes much later than a regular 4-gate, which would normally come in at 6 minutes, and so he's not going to be doing that as well. We do see 3 barracks out from Phoenix. I've noticed he does like to build reactors right away. Build reactors right away just to get out as many Marines as possible, and we should see a factory going down, I'm pretty certain, for FnaticFenix pretty soon. And do we have... Nope, no, it was a bunker that was started, actually. Because he's stockpiling a lot of gas right now, and the only reason to do that is either if he's going for some sort of stim after this barracks finishes, if he's going to try to get stim, or if he's going to get a factory and start teching. And actually... I would say that the refinery was mostly for kind of defense, depending on what Hwangsin was doing. He wanted to make sure he had a reactor so he could build more Marines and could potentially get a tech lab on his barracks if he needed to, in order to defend against any sort of early aggression coming from Hwangsin. I think that he wanted, he's feeling a little insecure after those first 2 losses. From basically surprise 4-gates. One of them was a quick 4-gate, the other one was transitioned into, and so he doesn't want to lose to any sort of those things. So he gets gas just to make sure he doesn't want to have to be defending against a 4-gate with only Marines and bunkers. Because otherwise, I think he gets the gas too early. There's no reason to have the gas that early. He could easily have gotten a better economy by getting the command center just that much earlier, and then double gassing right afterwards. And we do see a factory coming down now, and Marauder's slow on the way as well, actually, and he probably any moment he'll be starting Stim. Yep, Stim is starting as well in his second Tech Lab barracks, and he does have in fact 2 Tech Labs and 1 barracks, so it's actually, I mean, if you're doing like some sort of fast 3-gate in which you were getting as many, as many units early as possible to some kind of early aggression, then that would be the kind of barracks composition that you would have in a 1-base scenario. And he does see the Observer. I don't believe he probably doesn't have a scan, otherwise he'd be trying to take that out right now. Oh, actually, he's pretty close to a scan, so he might be trying to scan the Observer to take it out. But it looks like the Observer is just going to be a little bit out of reach. Hwangsin wants to make sure, well, he wants to bait him into using the scan, but at the same time, he wants to make sure that he doesn't use it. We do, in fact, have 1 scan currently. Meanwhile, the Terran army is just going to sit outside, and he's got the watchtower. He's got a Marine on the watchtower, so that he'll successfully be able to spot any Protoss army moving out. Meanwhile, the Protoss army is transitioning to Colossus with thermal lances. I believe the first match actually where he's got any Colossus out, and those will certainly be out before any sort of more aggression from the Terran player comes out. But we will still see Starport coming up, and I believe the factory is probably building the reactor. Yep, the factory is building a reactor, which will be done at the time that the Starport finishes. So both will finish, they'll switch, and then the Starport will start with medics, but as soon as the Colossus gets spotted, we will certainly be seeing the Colossus as well. We will certainly be seeing a number of Vikings as well. Meanwhile, we've got the first Colossus already finished, second Colossus just starting now, and we got the Observer deciding to leave the army and move back in. He sees it's not being reinforced and not that much of a danger to worry about. Meanwhile, Stimpack is probably going to finish very soon as well. Now, at this time, it looks like neither player is really gearing up for any sort of early aggression right now. I think most likely they're just going to try to secure a 3rd expansion. Actually, here we see Hwangsin saving his minerals, and he's going to start his 3rd expansion right now as well. Meanwhile, Phoenix wants to get as many medevacs as he can. He wants to make Stimpack more effective. He wants to be able to have the ability to do drops. He's going to keep this factory up here. The reason he's keeping the factory up there is both to spot for any pylons that are laid up there, so that if he sends any drops around that direction, that they would be effective. But also he wants to see if the Protoss player is actually sending any warp prisms with any sort of units in them, or Dark Templars or anything like that, and make sure he spots those things incoming as well. Meanwhile, he's going to load up 1 drop. Looks like he's going to trade a Marine for a Marauder. Good choice. Marauder's much bigger and beefier. He's got a much bigger suit, and he fires little canisters of explosives. Meanwhile, Hwangsin sees the army coming down. He realizes 3 Stalkers isn't enough to take out the entire Terran army, my mistake. And so he's going to rejoin the rest of his army, and Phoenix is going to move his army. He just wants to, he knows that he can't beat the Protoss army, but what he wants to do is posture to prevent any sort of drop. But it looks like Hwangsin actually smells that coming. He also sees the scan, so he thinks that the drop is coming. And the drop is going to move in, looks like move into the side. Meanwhile, he's going to take out that pylon from inside. The drop is coming out now. I don't think this drop is going to be very effective, however. He is able to supply block as a result of taking out that pylon, so no warped in reinforcements are going to be able to come. So each unit killed is actually going to lend itself to a new unit, but he's just going to pick up and move out after taking out, damaging these 2 Stalkers and taking out a 3rd. Looks like he's going to leave that medevac in place. Meanwhile, send 2 medevacs to the top. I don't believe that there's no vision here. The Observer's coming back to see if he can get a look, and we do see the 3rd command center already finished for that player. And actually, no, the drop. Oh, he's going to unload first, and actually he's going to get a lot of probe kills here. They're going to stim in. Oh, he's taking out the pylon first. I don't know if that was a good decision. It's not going to matter a whole lot, though, as those Colossus are going to deal a lot of damage. He's able to take out 2 probes and able to pick up all of his units and go home. That was a successful mission, bros. Bros. Clearly, a successful mission, brothers. We were able to land in and get a bunch of forces, get a couple of get a pylon and a couple of probes, and get out of there. We saved the lives of our men, and I don't know, here at Terranville, which I guess they're from. Well, anyway. I'm kind of going on a weird rant there, so we're going to go ahead and focus back on the game. We see 4 Vikings coming out and 2 more Vikings on the way. He wants to make sure to stay on par. Meanwhile, we've got weapons level 1 finished for the Terran player, and I don't believe any upgrades for the Protoss player. Oh no, we have weapons level 1, and we have a second forge on the way as well. There it is. Meanwhile, we do have a Twilight Council, but the Twilight Council appears right now was just for upgrades so that he can get weapons level 2, which he's already working on right now. And it looks like he's just going to get another Colossus, and with the Forge, I'm sure he's going to be getting armor level 1, which we see right there. He'll probably be chrono boosting those out if he has any chrono boosts to spare. Meanwhile, a scan is going to reveal pretty much all that the Protoss player is doing. It looks like, yes, it is able to spot the Forge as well, the second Forge, so he knows exactly what his opponent's doing. That Stalker's not long for this world. The Stalker and Probe being taken out with a free kill. Meanwhile, the Vikings are going to position themselves over the chasm, try to deal as much damage to the Colossus as possible without taking too much damage from the Stalkers. Ooh, but he wants to make sure not to take the splash damage from the Archons. He did take a bit of damage on his Viking. Meanwhile, we do see a drop going into the top, while Phoenix is just positioning his army around the middle. The reason he's positioning his army here is mostly to get his opponent's army out of position for the ensuing drop. He did do some damage to the Colossus, though, so it was certainly worth the damage that he was able to take on his Vikings, especially if he was able to pick off that Colossus as well. It looks like this... He's definitely going the wrong way, I believe, or not the wrong way, sorry, the long way. He's taking the scenic route. You know, he wants to see the nice little space debris lying around. And meanwhile, we see a double expansion from the Terran player. He's getting one expansion in the back, which I'm sure he'll float down here, and then another expansion right here, just to, you know, kind of bait Protoss player into that being his fourth expansion. Ooh, but he sees that High Templar who could one-shot that medevac with feedback, just barely be able to one-shot it. And actually, to be more effective against that High Templar, he probably wants to land these troops and then stim them a couple of times to deal with the feedback. It looks like he was not able to pick off a Colossus. He was able to deal a little bit more damage, take out the shields, but the Protoss player was able to defend his Colossus just fine. And so they will turn out just fine in that engagement. Meanwhile, we see 5 Ghosts. That's a lot of Ghosts. Those are going to be very effective against the High Templar that he sees that his opponent has, and also against the Protoss army in general, of course. And he does have Mobile Reactor, so these guys do spawn. These Ghosts do spawn with enough energy. It looks like he decided not to go down to this expansion. He decided to just take his 4th and 5th up top, and I believe they'll both be planetary fortresses, most likely. Meanwhile, Hwangsin's army is maxed out, so he's decided it's a good time as now is a good time as any to be able to move out against his opponent. And Phoenix is going to have to group up his army. His army actually looks a little meager compared to Hwangsin's army, which is, of course, maxed out, and his army is not maxed out. Meanwhile, the upgrades are about on par. I believe they're 2-1 for both players. They are, so they're on par. But I don't think he has enough Vikings to deal with all the Colossus, so unless he's able to get a couple of free snipes with the Colossus, and actually he should move these Ghosts and cloak a couple of them. Is cloak done? Cloak is not. They do not have upgraded cloak. Oh, nice EMPs. Oh my God, going to be able to take out almost all the energy from all of the Archons, almost all the shields from all the Archons, almost all the energy from all of the sentries. Great EMPs, was able to severely weaken the Protoss army, able to take out almost all the Archons right away. He wants to snipe that last Archon real quick, but it looks like the Protoss player just has a lot of units, and then they, because of the weakened state of the Colossus, the Vikings were able to just take those out as well. And so what wasn't enough number of Vikings now became enough Vikings. Looks like, and Hwangsin's actually just going to GG out of this game, and so Phoenix was actually just able to win this game on his own. That was a great positioning on the part of Phoenix, and it looks like he just did a great job. Those high number of Ghosts were able to EMP the entire Protoss army multiple times to take out all of the shields, no matter the unit. Even Archons, which have 300 shields, he was able to take it out and just destroy it, and that was incredibly effective. And then we move on to, oh no, this is the last game. Oh, well, okay, well, I guess I uploaded these in the wrong order, so I'll be I recorded these in the wrong order, so I'll be uploading them in the correct order on YouTube. But this was a great game. I won't tell you the results of the other games, and this is PGL Milncraft signing off.